With the transfer portal now closed, I figure it's the perfect time to take a look at who all came in for Ohio State and who all left the Buckeyes in the transfer portal window before we get to the spring one where it all opens up again and more chaos could potentially unfold. Before we get to that, help us continue to grow the Ohio State Football Report. Share today's video on social media. Let's begin with the additions. Not really in any particular order, but we'll talk about every guy that is now a member of the Buckeyes. First up is tight end Max Klare, who was very productive for Purdue, despite being a pretty unheralded recruit. Back when he joined the Boilermakers, was a lowly ranked 3-star. Outside the top 1,000, was a very nice number 69 overall, though. 685 yards for a Purdue offense that, frankly wasn't very good. The team itself wasn't particularly great either. Is impactful. I would expect a better season for Max Klare. Maybe not the same volume because there's this guy named Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and Brendan Ennis that are getting a lot of targets there. But the efficiency, the impact could still be felt. Getting a veteran running back, which seems weird to say talking about college football, but it's the NIL era, baby. CJ Donaldson is a good pickup by the Buckeyes as well. Didn't have his best season ever this past year for the Mountaineers. Still ran for 700-plus yards, 4.5 yards per carry, 11 touchdowns, by the way. I think with what Chip Kelly is able to do from a ground game perspective, for a player that has averaged, at minimum 4.5 yards carry in each of his seasons, has nearly 30 touchdowns, or does have 30 touchdowns, on the ground, and still has work to do as a pass catcher, by the way, that hit almost 800 yards back in 2023. I think Donaldson is primed for a career year with the Buckeyes. And there's other players in the running back room that'll be involved, but you lose your top two players, they'll count on Donaldson as the kind of heavy hitter power back, kind of in the little bit more of the Judkins role than the Henderson role with the way those two guys play. So you probably know by now, everyone that is in the portal for Ohio State. Who is your favorite player that the Buckeyes added in the transfer portal? Not quite a Caleb Downs-esque edition this year, but by no means bad either. Let me know at the pinned comments of today's show, who is your favorite player the Buckeyes added in the portal? If the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Next up is Ethan Onianwa, the offensive tackle coming over from Rice. The offensive line was a focal point for the Buckeyes and for justifiable reasons. This is a player that I trust the Buckeyes to have properly scouted since his time in college football. Again, low-rated 3-star. Had success, though, with the Owls. 1 sack allowed in 9 games played this year. 10 pressures total. Not that Rice was some superstar or powerful program, but this is where I go, okay, you've got your scouting staff. I'm going to trust them to identify and add the right players. Phillip Daniels, the other offensive lineman addition. Maybe the Buckeyes didn't get every single player that they were trying to acquire and didn't maybe land the biggest names, but I do think Daniels is a quality addition for the Buckeyes to give them another starting caliber offensive lineman. Again, a lower rated 3-star. Also had a lot of success for Minnesota. Ariante Ursary is the big name. He'll be a top 50, 75, whatever it is, NFL draft pick. Daniels, though, could also earn himself some draft buzz after this upcoming season for the Buckeyes. Certainly a big name to monitor on that front for Ohio State. 2 likely starters on the offensive line, maybe the number 1 running back, a tight end, and then 2 lesser names from smaller schools that we'll get to here in just a second. But first, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time's got a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. It is curation designed to make it easier to find those best prices on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, everything else in between. Keep an eye out for the super deal, Stadium Series. It is the best value for any given event. And the Game Time guarantee is this. You find tickets in the same section and row for less. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app today. Create your account and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but download Game Time today for last-minute tickets at the lowest price, all guaranteed. All right, now for the smaller school names. First up is Ty Howard, the Duquesne linebacker, which I don't really talk about Duquesne outside of March at most, or at best maybe from that regard. This is one of those, I'm going to trust what the Buckeyes have cooking there. Howard had 7 TFLs, 3 interceptions, 4 sacks, can kind of fit maybe that linebacker edge hybrid role. Curious how he's deployed by the Buckeyes when OSU goes out and gets a Duquesne player, or if they get an Idaho State player like they did in Logan George. That tells me that they've got a plan in mind. Now, maybe he just ends up being depth. Maybe both these guys don't actually play big roles, but you can preserve red shirts for freshmen, and they can get you the 100, 150 snaps you get from your number 5, number 6, defensive end, whatever. George had production, though, for the Bengals. 7 hits, QB hits, 6 sacks, 23 hurries. Now, massive level of competition jump coming for both of those players. But still, OSU's got a pretty good eye for talent. They are the Buckeyes in the national championships, or champion winners after all. We'll get to the losses, but overall for the transfer portal, grade what you think Ohio State was able to do. A, B, C, D, or F? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. We will discuss the losses because how can you not? First up is one of the bigger ones, Devin Brown, the quarterback, who is going to go, I assume, start for Cal next year at the quarterback position. Howard was clearly better than Devin Brown. I was going to pick Julian Sayin over Devin Brown as well. So I think it makes sense for all parties involved for Brown to hit the portal and go try to show what he can do at a different destination. It also kind of goes for Noland, who, if Saban doesn't retire, that trickle-down effect means Julian Sayin is not a member of the Buckeyes, and Noland is maybe battling Devin Brown for a starting role this upcoming season. Brown was a top 100 recruit. He's from Georgia. He gets to go now sit behind Lenore Sellers, most likely, and potentially take over in a year, maybe 2, down with the Gamecocks. Sam Williams-Dixon was one of the later entries into the portal for Ohio State. As of filming, no news on where he's going to end up. He's from Pickerington. Just had 7 carries last year. Clearly was at best going to be the number 3 back on this team. So we'll see where he ends up. Couple of receivers, Kojo and Antwi, going to go to Colorado State. So, relative to a lot of the names we'll discuss, kind of a bigger step down for Kojo to go to CSU. They're losing Torrey Horton, so chance he can play early. Jayden Ballard going to go to Wisconsin. Big Ten transfer there for Ballard. He's got a chance to play a noteworthy role. Patrick Gerd, who was involved as like the fullback, H-back, tight end hybrid, but Max Klare is going to get a bunch of snaps as he should. He's transferring to Cincinnati, so not going that far away. Miles Walker, the offensive tackle, going to go to Boise State, hoping he can earn a starting role. Zen Mikulski, the offensive lineman, transferring to Indiana. George Fitzpatrick, who is offensive tackle, going to Kansas State, so 3 backup offensive linemen that probably weren't going to play real snaps for you anyway, going elsewhere. The biggest program, I think, to add somebody is Hero Canoe. Or kind of the defensive lineman going to Texas. He hadn't played much for the Buckeyes, but Texas going after him makes me wonder if maybe there's some untapped potential there still. Got a couple more losses to get to here in the portal, but which one hurts the most for you? If there is one, none's a valid option as well. If you want to go with that one, maybe Canoe going to Texas stands out to me. It would have been great to keep Noland and Devin Brown, but it makes sense why they leave him. I don't hold any grudges on that one there. Let me know in the comments of today's show. All right, Mitchell Melton, kind of a linebacker edge hybrid, going to go to Virginia. Another Kansas State transfer, by the way, is Gabe Powers, the linebacker. He was going to be buried in the depth chart, so maybe he plays a bigger role there. Calvin Sampson Hunt is going to Baylor, one of your lone defensive back losses. Jayden Bonsu transferring to Pitt, chance to play early there. And I'll throw him on here because he is technically a portal member. Austin Snyder, the backup kicker. TBD, it's a kicker. Who knows where they will really end up in the end. In theory, no more additions coming or losses coming until at least the spring. But we will have more for you on recruiting and more for Ohio State. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out.